Holy shit. Hold on. We'll talk about this on the podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jump Up Supercast. I'm your host, Muzzy, and I forgot to do the proper intro.
Again.
Joining me today is Will.
Next week, I'm gonna be mega jacked, baby.
Ills.
Talk shit, get fit.
And Brandon.
Bring back Will as the host.
You know what?
I purposely put you at the end. I was going to put you first, and I was like, no, wait. Brandon.
You know what? I shit on
called me
Will
out
a lot,
last
but bring back Will as the host.
You know, at some point it's time, you know. I can only... I'm the understudy for a reason, you know.
Make Brandon host these. Just Brandon host everything.
Let's not get too crazy, okay? All right, Brandon, we can't give Brandon too much power. He already he already has an outsized influence on the list if you look at the numbers.
That's true.
So, you know,
Me and Ills are even in that.
No, we're not.
So.
No, the power is definitely consolidated in your direction,
Okay.
Brandon.
You know, me and Will are pretty much even then. Fuck you. So listen. All right. Fine. You know what? I'm the best. All right. What do you want? I don't know what you
Nobody said you were the best.
I am.
Just because you have power does not make you the best. You can look at what's happening in the world to prove that.
You know what? I'm going crazy with power.
Commentary.
I'm going crazy with power. You ever try to go crazy without power? It's no fun. Nobody listens to you.
Sure.
You know what? You're right, though. Okay, well, I want to start out with a news story that I care about most.
Oh?
Yeah. So, we have the September NPD, the best-selling games in the United States.
I knew where that was going.
Can you guess what is the best-selling game of the month of September?
No, I
Grand Theft
can't
Auto
because
5.
In the U.S., I
Never get
probably
this game.
can.
In the United
Dragon Quest
States.
11.
What?
NBA.
Quest 11.
It's NBA 2K.
NBA 2K19.
Wow, really boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the sports, baby.
I mean, look, it is what it is, okay?
Why'd you ask that question?
I mean,
It
sorry,
was so boring.
did I say 2K19 because I meant 2K20? This
Correct.
is 2K20.
Yeah.
All
what
the
do you think
same
is-
game.
What do you think is second, though?
Grand Theft Auto 5.
No, there was
Another
a
good
big.
guess.
There was some big releases this month. 4 big releases, all are in the top 4.
Brandon, you're gonna like this one. I think it's Borderlands.
Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
That is the
hey.
second best-selling game of September 2019. So big month for Take-Two, actually, because Take-Two publishes both of these games.
The 2K.
Big month for them. What do you think is next? We're going to do 2 more, because these are both new releases for the month.
Oh, new
Okay.
release.
New releases. So I'm gonna say, September's always sports month. So is FIFA this month?
FIFA 20 is the third best-selling game. And then I'm just going to spoil the last one. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening.
Oh, nice.
Number
Owie
4, which, I mean, that's a strong performance for that game, I gotta say, because, you know, a lot of people, I mean, we know now it's a big success, but I think before it came out, there was this idea of $60 for a 2D Zelda. Is that really gonna, especially a remake for a Game Boy game, is that really gonna do anything? Turns out, yes.
I think the moral of the story is to never listen to what people say.
Yeah.
So just turn off this podcast immediately.
Some other quick highlights. Ghost Recon Breakpoint got to number 6 because it launched like 2 days before the reporting period ended. In between that's Madden, of course. Madden had another strong month. Gears 5 was next. Gears 5 launched this month, and Gears 5 is notable because that was a Game Pass game, and this does not
Right.
count Game Pass. So
Yeah.
Right, I was just about to say that.
That is pretty good.
Gears
That's
5
cool.
being number 7 for the month, you know, that's a pretty good performance.
Yeah, that's solid because, I mean, you look at the games because I'm assuming that FIFA and stuff like that, NBA and Borderlands, that's counting all console sales, right?
Yeah.
So it's even more impressive when you have games like Link's Awakening and you know,
I mean,
anything that's
exclusives getting on the list is always crazy because, you know, you just have so much less to work with. And Gears 5 is especially notable because it did launch on Steam, but this does not include Steam numbers either.
Wow.
So
Wow. Yeah, the fact that it doesn't include Game Pass is pretty big. You know,
yeah, so no
I think
Game
a lot
Pass,
of
no Steam.
concerns was like, oh, is Game Pass going to make the sales be like abysmal? But I guess not.
Yeah, no, it sold pretty well. Yeah, and I mean, we know for a fact it was a huge success on Game Pass, right? So Gears 5,
Yeah.
good for it. And then Code Vein, that released this month.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
it made it to top 10. Probably not too great, to be honest.
Well, no, I mean that's better than I thought for, honestly.
But
I mean,
NHL
I noticed you guys
20.
said Dragon Quest, and I'm crying. It's fine.
Yeah, no, Dragon Quest is not on this list. But NHL 20 and Mario Kart 8 round out the top 10. And then Minecraft, GTA 5, Smash Ultimate, still doing great. Spyro came back on the top 20. It launched on Switch this month, so that's probably why. Then Red Dead 2, Rainbow Six Siege. Oh, the Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for Neighborville, number 8, number 17. Probably not great, actually. But,
I forgot that came out.
Yeah, I forgot that game existed. So
I think, though, it is a
that's pretty
$30 game, though. So because this is by revenue, maybe that is kind of decent, right? Can't tell you for sure, though. And then Spider-Man, Catherine, and you thought it was gone, but no, Breath of the Wild is still on here.
the legs.
So yeah, Switch best-selling system 10 months in a row in the United States. Speaking of, Nintendo announced that it hit 15 million units sold in the United States alone.
Whoa.
So,
What was North America, right?
no, this is just the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, so a big number.
Has the Switch worldwide passed the Nintendo 64 yet?
Yeah, it did. It already did. Yes.
Okay, and GameCube?
Yeah, well, GameCube way earlier.
And
Yeah.
Wii U?
Well, Wii U was the first one to
The
pass.
Titan.
And
the
then-
Titan Wii U.
Our next milestone for Switch is Super Nintendo. That's what it's going to pass next, and it'll pass it by the end of the fiscal year. So
Did it pass DS yet?
Yeah, right.
not quite.
Damn.
They also
So
said
close.
that 4 games have sold more than 6 million units in the United States alone, being Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8, and Smash Ultimate. So, big
About what
successes
you would
over there.
expect. Yeah.
They called out some big third-party hits like Mario Rabbids and Minecraft. And apparently, did you know that the retail version of Fortnite sells a shit ton? Because I didn't.
I didn't even know there was a
either.
retail version of that.
There's a retail version of Fortnite. I don't know if it's a download code. I'm pretty sure it's a download code.
It absolutely is a download code, yeah.
It just comes with the equivalent amount of V-Bucks, or maybe more V-Bucks.
Oh,
actually, I'm not sure. But
I was about to say, that game is fucking free, right?
Yeah. It's a free-to-play game, but you get like V-Bucks. Apparently, that retail version apparently sells a lot, and that's so funny to me. And then they called out some indie hits: Stardew Valley, Cuphead, the Overcooked series, and Untitled Goose Game.
This game.
Getting shout out. So
Oh.
Switch, very successful, if you couldn't tell.
Very good. We're all
Yeah.
happy.
Good
We
stuff.
never talk about it on the podcast, so, it's a good thing we did.
Yeah, we've never mentioned that the Switch is successful on the podcast.
Yeah, it's true. Breaking news.
We got other news to go through though. Believe it or not, there's not much, but Fortnite. Speaking of Fortnite, did you know Fortnite 2 is out?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
So Fortnite Season X ended last week or so, right? And then they had an event. They had a countdown. Hey, look forward to this, right? And then you boot up the game, and suddenly everything gets swallowed into a black hole.
Mhm.
And this black hole, when you boot up Fortnite for 2 straight days,
Just that black hole. There's a circle
you
in the
just
middle
saw
of the
this black
screen.
hole. Sometimes numbers would fly by, but that's it. You could put in the Konami code and play this shoot 'em up game,
Yeah.
but that's it. Like, you could not play Fortnite for 2 straight days.
They saw the
horror.
Game Freak Pokemon 24-hour stream and they said, "Hold our beer. We're doing it. We
Yeah, we can do one better.
can't even play the game for 2 days."
I thought this was, before I talk about like the new stuff in Fortnite Chapter 2, I thought this was a cute way to like do essentially, the required server maintenance before a big update, right?
Does this count like as a sequel? I don't understand.
No, so it's called Fortnite Chapter 2. It's just basically a big major update to this. One quick thing I wanted to say about this black hole event. This was the most viewed gaming event in the West ever.
Of all time.
All time.
I'm sad now.
Over 4 million people were watching a black hole and nothing else.
I mean, like, the thing that I think is really cool about Fortnite, one of the lessons it learned from MMOs, I think, right, is events, right? World events.
Yeah.
And so every season has been, you know, like last season there was like a big mech that fought a big, like, Godzilla monster in the middle of the map, right? And everyone, if you were in the middle of the game, you would see this happen. And this is cool because, like, if you were on the menu screen, all the menu elements got sucked into the black hole, right? Like, it was really neat. And they had a bunch of little, like, ARG type stuff going on, where like there was hints and what the numbers mean and everything else. Like if you put it into a GPS, it showed, you know, the crab rave, the GIF of all the crabs like dancing together.
Yeah.
They like made a crab rave that would show up if you typed in the as GPS coordinates. So it was a cool little just like way that everyone for these 2 days just were like, what's happening? What's the thing? You know, reading up little weird pieces of lore. Which is cool for a game that is just, I mean, you know, you jump out of a bus and then you shoot people, right? But like, they do a good way of maintaining a community around that game.
Yeah, I mean, I love that Fortnite does this kind of stuff, you know, and I really think that they do live events better than any other games as a service out there, you know. Maybe they have the luxury to do that because they're the biggest in the world, but maybe they're also the biggest in the world because they're so good at it, right? That's a little bit of both, right?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
True. I mean,
so I want to talk about Fortnite Chapter 2. Oh, yeah, sorry, Will, you had something to
No,
say?
I was just saying, it's one of those things that sort of like, because there was always the question for the last couple of years, when will Fortnite start to fall, right? When's that going to happen? And like, I think that we're like 2 years in now to Fortnite being the hugest thing in the world. Like, eventually it's just going to enter that space that like Minecraft and League of Legends is, you know, where like, it's just quietly the biggest game in the world, but no one really
those
talks
games
about
are
it 'cause
still
it's just
massive.
assumed.
They never saw a downturn, right? And I think we can, like, even if Fortnite will at some point not be in the news anymore, right? It'll still just be this quiet thing of like, oh, it's just, I mean, hundreds of millions of people are playing this game, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
Pokemon Go had its
crazy
biggest
thing.
month last month in like 2 years, right? Like, it's just these games do this. They get a certain amount of self-sustaining momentum.
But it's interesting that Fortnite has been able to like keep it at the forefront of people's minds still, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 years in, I think that's very cool. So Fortnite Chapter 2. So this is what this led to, right? Essentially the next evolution of Fortnite. There's a brand new map. So they usually like make big changes to the map. They decided we're scrapping the entire thing, making a whole new map. It's no longer a floating island. It is an actual island.
You can swim.
Yeah, and with that, they added a lot of water elements to the game, right? So I would say that's one of the biggest changes overall. So you can swim now. There's fishing. There's there's boats that you can also ride on land, in case you were wondering.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of water, new water stuff. You can support your squad by you can actually carry your down teammates now, which is cool because before, if they got stuck in the storm, that was pretty much it for them, right? Now you can carry them on your back.
There is a yeet button.
There's a yeet
Press
button. You
ZR
can
and
throw
yeet
your
them.
teammate, and
Oh my god.
it's very fun. And just other ways to support, like they added a bandage bazooka, so a gun that heals your teammates. Takes up 2 slots in your inventory, by the way. And then just small stuff like they upgraded the combat. They added hideouts, so you can like hide in dumpsters and haystacks now. The UI got completely revamped. They changed up the battle pass system. So before it was a lot more grindy. And essentially the way they had battle stars. So you had your season level tier, and then you had your battle pass tier, and then you had your season level. Now it's just one simple system, XP. You level up, to get level up your battle pass. They say it's less grindy, and in my experience so far it is. I don't know if it'll be in the later tiers, but
Yeah.
So far, I mean, this is a big upgrade for Fortnite, and it
Maybe. Sorry. Maybe
and
the biggest
also
thing
it just
though,
looks
for me.
better, right? It looks better. It runs better on Switch, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, the thing is, to me, there's 2 big parts that, like, as a person that played a bunch of Fortnite and then sort of is more interested in getting back in it now. One, it was very much they were building off this base, but it was sort of like getting more and more unwieldy as each season went on, right?
Yeah.
Because they were adding all these different elements, all these different guns, all these different vehicles. They were changing different parts of the map, right? And so, like, I mean, especially like on the Switch version, just like it started out when it first came out, it ran, like clearly not as good as the PC or the PS4 version, but like fine. And some of those later seasons, it was like 15 FPS on average. It was just a nightmare scenario, right? Like when you're trying to do a competitive shooter. Now it is improved because they sort of wiped the slate clean, right? And the other thing is that they've changed a lot of matchmaking. There are bots now in this game.
Yes.
Which basically, because the problem they had in looking at more recent seasons was only a very low percent of players actually ever win a single game, right? Because when it's 1 versus 99 people, obviously that's going to happen. But that means that people would bounce off it really fast, right? They would just die immediately and they'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing. So now they start you out with a lot of bots, but then as you get better, as you do better, they start to put you in more and more matches with more and more human players till eventually you'll be at the skill level where you can like confidently move around and like know the map and all these other things. So I think it's a neat behind the scenes process to like get people into this game, because with first person shooters, especially 2 years in, it's very hard to start, because you have people that have thousands of hours of experience in this game. You have no hope of beating them. And so I think this is a neat sort of answer to that problem.
And fun fact, me and Will won our very first game together.
Not true. We won games beforehand. You won games beforehand.
No. We won, like, our first game in the new season, we won, I'm saying.
Correct.
Like, the first, we jumped in and we won that game.
Watch out, Ninja, we're coming for you.
Wow.
The first game I ever played solo, when it came out on Switch and I booted it up, I won the first game I ever played.
I've beaten Fortnite. I can uninstall.
That's
yeah, exactly.
But in the Fortnite Chapter 2, it's a great time to jump back in. You know
what? The lesson is that Fortnite is like love. You only win if you don't play.
It's true.
Yeah.
You let it find you. You let Fortnite find you.
It's true. True.
So that's Fortnite Chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, I want to talk about some big game announcements from Riot, the makers of League of Legends. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Riot announced a bunch of games. I think there was a League event going on, a tournament. I don't know for sure, to be honest. I don't know the context of these announcements.
It was the 10th anniversary of it.
Yeah, okay, so it was near or on the 10th anniversary of League of Legends. And so they announced a bunch of things. First thing, let's just go right into it. Speaking of League of Legends, it is coming to mobile and console. So they say that this is a completely revamped version of League of Legends, specifically designed for these platforms, So you'll be able to play with the controller and it'll control well. Mobile games, notoriously, use every key on the keyboard. That's not true, but it requires a lot out of you. But they say it's still the core League of Legends experience, but retrofitted for console in a way that'll work really well, and mobile, of course. That's coming next year, so cool stuff there. And then we have a couple of League of Legends spin-offs. I don't know if you guys have a take on League of Legends first, coming to mobile console.
I mean,
I'm still not gonna play it. That's the theme of this episode, apparently.
I mean, I do think it's interesting. This League is already one of the biggest games in the world, as we said earlier, right? Yeah. This was just being on PC. Now imagine it'll be able to reach the console audience and the mobile audience. I mean, this could make League even bigger than it already is, Yeah. And that's I think that's
yeah. And I think it's interesting because, like, also Arena of Valor is, we mentioned it before, I think on a podcast like a year ago, right? But that is very much a sort of League equivalent that was Riot, owned by Tencent. Arena of Valor, also owned by Tencent. That was sort of like their console MOBA for a long time, right? And that's sort of their plan in the West, was we're going to have this be the console MOBA. But then they have clearly made the decision, no, League is big enough in the West in comparison to Arena of Valor that it's worth the effort of putting it on console. And then, I mean, mobile's going to be huge, right? Like, it's just, there's hundreds of millions of people that are not going to be able to play that game.
It's called League of Legends Wild Rift, by the way, this new version.
Oh, the thing that's actually cool, they are restructuring the game lengthwise, too. They said that, on average, most matches go 40 minutes. On the PC, they're aiming for 15 to 20 on console and on phones. Which is good, because especially if you're on your phone, obviously, you might not always have hours to sit down and play a game, right?
Yeah, so
15
streamlining
much
that
easier for
experience
us.
will be good, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, Teamfight Tactics is coming to mobile, by the way. That's the auto chess spin-off of League of Legends.
It's also getting
yeah.
a season 2.
So that it's going standalone, and you'll also be able to play against people on PC. So it'll be crossplay. So, cool stuff.
It's also getting like 50 new character units,
Yeah.
which is a lot.
Okay, so now, though, Riot wants you to know we are not just making League of Legends. We're making 10 million League of Legends spin-offs.
Sure.
Approximately.
So, Legends of Runeterra is the only one with a name so far. And this one is a card game, a strategy card game, similar to Hearthstone, based off League of Legends. I guess Artifact is another possible example, except spoilers, I think this one's going to be a lot more successful than Artifact.
It would not be hard. Artifact
won't be
never
hard.
broke like
Yeah.
15,000 players.
Yeah.
As
So,
a card game.
but even Teamfight Tactics is also just way bigger than Dota's Auto Chess, right?
Yeah.
What is it called? Is it just called Auto Chess?
Yeah.
Oh, it's called Dota Underlords.
The Underlords, there we go. Yeah. So, League of Legends, I think, will continue its streak of just, hey,
Destroying everything named Dota.
Dota related, there's a similar product. Let's do that, but bigger. You can pre-register for the beta. That's there.
I'm really interested. I mean, because like if anyone's going to do it, it'll be them.
Mhm.
But I feel like the card game Gold Rush has been like one of the particularly least successful of all the Gold Rushes we've had in recent memory, right? Like,
For sure.
Elder Scrolls tried it. Like just a million different companies tried it, and like Hearthstone did it, but like I think there's only so much space for people to dedicate time to a card game. You know what I'm saying?
But hey, maybe people are dropping Hearthstone because of that Blizzard controversy we talked about last week. Maybe they're looking for a new game.
Here they come.
And then one more League of Legends spinoff called Project L. So it is a fighting game. If you recall from a while ago, before this podcast even existed, actually, Seth Killian, who used to work at Capcom, was making a game, a little fighting game. He said specifically it was going to be a game that was easier to get into for people who, don't play fighting games. I forget what the game is called. Anyway, but it's been they got bought out by Riot Games. It's been totally revamped. It is now based off League of Legends. We didn't see much of it, but it is a traditional 1v1 fighter, right?
Yeah.
And not much to say about it right now. I assume that core tenet of, hey, this is going to be a game that's easy for people to get into. I think that will remain true, especially now that it is League of Legends based, which is, inherently going to introduce a lot of people who don't play fighting games, right? So, yeah, it'll be, they did say we're going to go quiet on this one, right? So don't expect to hear much about it for a while. So...
Yeah, it looks pretty good so far.
I thought the footage looked good. I really did.
Yeah.
It looks nice. So,
not much to say there.
Yeah.
Project
and then we
L,
have
right?
Project A, and this one is actually not based off League of Legends. So this is a brand new IP from Riot Games. They call it a stylish, competitive, character-based tactical shooter.
Overwatch.
So the comparison being made, is Overwatch mixed with Counter-Strike, I guess you could say.
It did look like Counter-Strike when I first saw it. Yeah. Like Counter-Strike.
So, that one is also another one that they're going to go, kind of quiet on. Just by the names, right? Project A, Project L, you can tell that they're a ways out.
That was the one that interested me the most.
And having thoughts on it?
We didn't really get much to look at.
It's honestly it's just not. But it is interesting to see. Hard. I think with all of this combined, though, it is interesting to see Riot branch out, right? Because for 10 years now, they have been the League of Legends company, right? Like that's what they were. They haven't made anything else. And then recently we got Teamfight Tactics, but other than that, nothing. And so it's cool to see them kind of branch out. The timing is kind of funny. It was totally unintentional, but I've seen the sentiment of, maybe they can be the new Blizzard. Right? So that's just funny timing there, but it's definitely...
Blizzard.
these guys are a powerhouse, right? They're a big deal, and it's interesting to see them branch out like this. It'll be interesting to follow.
It is worth mentioning, I think, in fairness, because we did talk about the Blizzard stuff last week fairly. So Riot has had their own fair share of stuff this year. They've had I think 2 different times where employees have had walkout protests of treatment while at the company, and sort of asking for more fair treatment. A lot of stuff about crunch going on at that studio. So like, I mean, when you have that 2 months beforehand and then suddenly they announce 4 new games, you're like, oh well, maybe that's why. But
fuck the Riot.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it is interesting, like, them as a studio having to take the look and be like, we want to be, I mean, Blizzard's the obviously comparison point because there's a bunch of analogs to all the games that they announced, right? Yep. But just, to be not only huge, because also when you look at a thing like a fighting game, right? Their goal is not to like pull the Street Fighter audience. You know what I'm saying? Their goal is to expand the fighting game audience. That's what you do when you're a company like that. And so it'll be interesting to see how they do that. They have not made a game that they charge for, so it'll be interesting to see how they do all these.
Yeah, I wonder if all these games will be free to play, or will they? Will the fighting game be paid? Or I mean, who knows? It'll be interesting to see.
It's funny, like, that they're emulating Blizzard. They seem to be coming for all the Blizzard's franchises right now. Like, they're coming for Overwatch with that shooting game, and they're coming for Hearthstone. And they also showed a top-down RPG, which kind of akin to Diablo. So maybe,
yeah. I mean, they're good. It'll be. I mean, like I said, it'll be very interesting to follow Riot as these progress. Right,
World of Legends win.
Man. Investing in an MMO in 2019 must be a real proposition. You're like, oh man.
Oh baby. So one last thing I want to touch on. Pokemon got some previews. People in the press have played it. Now this is not all
trailer.
There was also a new trailer. Let's talk about that first, actually. So there was a new trailer. People got excited. To be honest, it wasn't much. So a couple Pokemon got new Gigantamax forms. So if you remember, there's Dynamax, where the Pokemon turns big, and sometimes they can turn into a new form when they turn big. And so we got Pikachu, which is the star of the show, I'd say, because it turns into Fat Pikachu, the classic Pikachu that you remember from Gen 1.
Oh, common.
People have very happy with this one. And because they did Pikachu, they felt like, okay, well, now Eevee's kind of his counterpart. So, we got to do something with him. Gigantamax Eevee, his fur thing gets bigger, I guess.
He's very fluffy. That's the lore. He's just
very fluffy.
Fluffy boy.
And you get this the special Pikachu and the special Eevee by having a save file for those games. So if you have a save file for Let's Go Pikachu, you get Fat Pikachu.
If you have both, do you get both? Is my question.
I'm assuming yes.
So, yeah.
I'm assuming yes.
Okay, because I have a friend from my work who I only have Eevee, but I said, "Do you have Pikachu as well?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got both." And I was like, "Can I just borrow your Pikachu game and just make a save file?"
Just make a quick save file just to get Pikachu. Yeah. So that's that's always an option. Hey, you don't have one of those games? Go find a friend who does and put their cartridge in your so that's cool. They also showed off Gigantamax Charizard.
Shocker.
He's Charizard getting a new form. Surprise, surprise, right?
Especially when he's the champion signature Pokemon in the game.
It was bound to happen. How do I explain Gigantamax Charizard?
He's got flame wings.
More. Looks like he's glowing more.
Yeah.
You can see the fire in his belly. And it looks a little bit like a Dorito.
Then we got
I like him a lot, actually. I like how he looks.
We got Gigantamax Butterfree, who's got a real Mothra vibe going on.
Very much.
Just
very good.
And then
my favorite one.
Gigantamax Meowth, which you get if you purchase Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield by January 15th, 2020. And
which if you're not, get out of my face.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll leave now.
Yeah, get
out of my fucking face, Ills.
I wasn't in your fucking face. It was in your ear.
Well, I don't even want to look at you.
So Gigantamax Meowth is, if you remember, a very old meme, Long Cat.
He's long.
He's a very long Meowth.
If she don't remember that meme, she too young for you, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I really love the descriptors on the website for these things.
Mm-hmm.
Just like one, like Long Cat Meowth, it's like, yeah, it's big enough that it just views skyscrapers as scratching posts, so it just like destroys windows and buildings of like giant metropolitan areas, which is a nightmare. And then like Eevee's so big that it wants to play with you, but it's so big it crushes most of its opponents by accident, and you're like, oh, okay, this is when you. That's cute. Those are things that make you be like, okay, it's not just that he's fluffier. It's like, oh, there's something else there.
There's something else going on with them, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so that's all the ones they showed.
That is all the ones they showed, correct.
I do want to say, and I know most of you can go, I have to say it, though, you know, because we're here to talk about shit, right? And I want to voice my opinion on it.
Uh-huh.
I'm disappointed in a way. You know, I like the forms they showed. Sure. They're good. I do like them. I like the designs. My problem, and I know you're going to roll your eyes, but it's the fact that it's only Gen 1. It's not the fact that there are Gen 1. It's that it's only Gen 1.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, that's
I would like to see more Pokemon, you know? Like, the whole Gen 1 pandering thing, it gets tiresome. You know, I feel like you got to admit it does. You know, there's so many Pokemon to take from.
Yeah.
And... You know, and I don't have a problem that Gen 1 does get it because they're a lot of them are mascots, you know, and they have been. But the fact that they ignore the rest is what bothers me more than anything. Yeah. You know, it's not, Gen 1 again. It's
that's fair.
The fact that
I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out hope that because we've seen so little of this game, you know,
intentionally so, yeah.
Right.
And intentionally
I'm holding out
so,
too, but you know, I'm also it's something I'm afraid of here because we get,
that's fair because like you know with Pokemon Sun and Moon, right? Only Gen 1 Pokemon got Alolan forms. But I do think I you know holding out hope here. We like for example Galarian forms. We've already seen one non-Gen.
We've seen one, right? We've seen literally one.
Yeah, but we've also only seen 3 Galarian forms total. So you know, I mean,
we've seen
like it's 4 if you count Surfetched, right?
Yeah.
But
3 out of the 4 have been Gen 1. So, you know, it makes you...
But the fact that, like, you know it's not just going to be Zigzagoon. Like, you know that. I don't
know that. I hope that. Well, I don't know that.
If you're doing Zigzagoon and no one else, you might as well just only do Gen 1. Come on. Be reasonable.
Well, you would think that.
My thought on it is...
Guys, just face it. Gen 1 is the best gen. It'll always be the best gen. No other gen deserves it.
I told you to get out of my fucking face, man.
I'll never get out of your face. I'm living inside your eyeball.
Fuck you.
This was the 30th anniversary of Game Freak, and so I think there was a little bit of like, all right, we're going to do the mascots of the company on the thing, right? I think that was because in Japan, literally right after they did this trailer, they did like a live stream.
Showed like Little Town Hero.
Was it
and like a few other things.
No.
But and this sort of does tie into the thing we're talking about with the previews, right? The thing I think that is the most that gives me the most hope that there will be more variety for this stuff is that one, like we've had people that like within the press have said Game Freak has intentionally maybe overcorrected from Sun and Moon, right? Where they showed almost literally everything before release, right? And so, I mean, in the previews, we can get to that whenever you want. But like they said, we saw a ton of new Pokemon, right? Like proportionally for an early area, like it was more than Sun and Moon, but we can't say what they were, right? And we saw some Galarian forms too. And so that to me indicates that like, there's the potential for...
They're holding their cards close to their chest this time around, you know? And I think, you know, that's fine. I'm more than okay with that, you know? So let's get to the previews. I mean, overall, very positive, right? I just want to get that out of the way. Yeah, like, people are like, wow. I mean, you know, you had some writers be like, hey, you know, I was a little concerned because, you know, Pokemon, will it prove that, like, it is, you know, the next step forward? And it totally, so far, it seems to be doing that job, right? A lot of people like the wild area in particular. So I want to get through, this is not all the new details necessarily, so if I forgot some, you can jump in. But I do want to talk about, so you get to the wild area within the first hour. So, you know, you're immediately there. Apparently, it's already very big and very expansive right from the start. You encounter, much like Xenoblade Chronicles, you encounter Pokemon in the wild area that are way more powerful than you can handle, right?
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Which is, that's very neat, I think. Which kind of, hey, if you complain about Pokemon difficulty, here's something to, you know?
Yeah, and it brings a realism to it, right? Because, like, there would be strong Pokemon wandering around.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, yeah. In the wild area itself, there's a vendor, so there's specific currency dedicated to the wild area, right? And with this currency, you can exchange it for special items, TMs that are common, very powerful TMs apparently, stuff like that. So that's neat. The map has an objective marker with a small note on what to do. I guess welcome to 2019 where all games do that, I guess. Don't want you getting lost, right? Which is fine. The first battle with Hop has him using 2 Pokemon instead of 1. How about that?
Oh my god.
Wow. Wowee. Also, I read that he picks the Pokemon that's weaker to you.
Weaker to you. Okay, so cool. Yeah. So if you pick Sobble, he's gonna have a Score Bunny. There's a lot of British slang in the dialogue, so that's fun.
There's a bunch of people from Britain that were doing previews, being like, "They went for it, dogs. They went for it." Like, so that's cool. One other thing about the map that's worth mentioning in the wild area. There's sort of a thing that is similar to the Dex Nav in Oros, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, where in that area you can check the Pokedex and it'll tell you Pokemon that are specifically each part of the wild area, and it'll give you a little mark whenever you've completed that zone.
Okay, cool. Very neat. Yeah,
that is cool. I like that.
Which is nice.
Speaking of special Pokemon, if you remember in Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, if you played those games, sometimes Pokemon have these like blue or red auras, which indicate to you, oh, there's this smaller than normal or bigger than normal. Didn't really actually show that in the like when you look at them, but that's fine. But now in the wild area, and maybe outside the wild area too, if you see a Pokemon with this like yellow golden like aura around it, that means it's more powerful than usual. It has a lot more maxed out IVs. Your individual
I think it has at least one of its IVs are maxed out.
Yeah, and it can potentially have egg moves, which is also similar to the Dex now.
I imagine it'll have a lot of the recent Pokemon games have had some form of chaining going on to make them more and more powerful, right? And so I wonder. I imagine that I did not confirm, but I imagine that'll stay in. Also,
I'm okay with that. Definitely,
they're likely to have egg moves as well, so that's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
We got some location names. I don't want to go through them because who cares, honestly.
There was a group of people that were like, finally I know a town name. They've been waiting for 8 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, though, that we didn't even know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like, it's a very different cycle, right? Pokemon Centers include a name raider and a move deleter. So in previous Pokemon games, you had to go to specific places to find the name raider, specific places to find the move deleter. Now it's a convenience in every Pokemon Center, which is nice.
They got the IV checker man in there. Actually, no, I think it sounds like they're from the way we've heard everything we've heard so far that IVs are probably going to be able to check them your own.
Yeah. It seems like we not
which was in
yet,
Let's Go as well. Yeah. You could check.
Yeah. No more convoluted shit with the fucking IV checking.
Yeah,
so nice. That's definitely nice. Experience is automatically split. We kind of knew this already, but it is worth noting. So the Pokemon in the lead, just like usual, gets more XP compared to the rest, right? And also, the XP system is more akin to Pokemon Black and White, where I don't know if it was in the last. I don't remember. X and Y didn't have this, but I don't remember Sun and Moon.
No, I don't think Sun and Moon had it either. I think.
So basically, like the higher level your Pokemon is compared to the Pokemon you're fighting, you'll get less XP, or vice versa, right? So if you're fighting a Pokemon that's a lot higher level than you are, you will get more XP.
They essentially apply a multiplier, right?
Yeah.
Either positive or negative based off your level versus their level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it takes that into account. So that's doesn't look like you can turn that off though, but whatever. And this has not been confirmed, but this has been the buzz around places. Apparently you may be able to skip the catching tutorial.
They confirmed you can skip it.
Okay.
You can skip all tutorials.
So this is the first time ever. You don't have to watch the old man catch a Meryl.
I think they listened to the criticisms of Sun and Moon, where people were like, this is too tutorial heavy, especially in the beginning of the game.
And they also confirmed specifically with the starter Pokemon, there's no cutscene that plays in front of them this time. And you can see that they're shiny before you pick them too. So they just streamlined the process of if you're soft resetting for your, or you're just starting the game over again in general, like they streamlined the process of starting the game. So that's very
cool.
nice.
I like
Because
that.
Sun and Moon, fairly so, was criticized for being very kind of, overblown, that tutorial. So that's nice.
A few other notes on the wild area, if I could. So one, there was a thing in Let's Go where you could access the PC at any time. It's just in your bag, right?
Yeah.
That is the case in the wild area, but it's not in everywhere else, which I think is a fair compromise because the wild area is so big that, like, if your Pokemon are about to die and it's a 15-minute walk back to the nearest Pokemon Center, that's going to be a point of frustration, right? Or you catch a Pokemon, you want to put it on your team if it's a 15-minute walk to the nearest Pokemon Center. I think, but then having it in everywhere else you have your team, you can't get to the PC at every time, I think is a fair compromise.
No, I like that. That's cool. I mean, you could always use HMs to fly to the Pokemon Center, but then if you want to get back to where you were going, you'd have to walk all the way back anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think you were about to mention this, Moose, but they have, like, there's a whole set of currency that is only in the wild area. And you use that, I think it's like watts, and that's like for the camping stuff that they've shown off, or like the curry stuff, that's where you buy on exchange all that stuff. Which is cool because I think even the E3 demo didn't quite show it off, like how much this is a shared space with other players. Like, whenever you walk in, you instance, and you'll just see other people just walking around. There are other players. You can talk to them. You can do everything else, right? In addition to the, like, going into the menu and trading and everything else. Which is cool. It made, there's just a vibe of, like, oh, there's other people going on in this Pokemon adventure. There's, like, a world to it that I think is cool.
It is cool.
Is it, though?
Good question.
Yeah, very neat stuff about Pokemon. Overall, again, just very positive, right? People seem to be very happy about a lot of the changes. They've streamlined a lot of the more obtuse things, right? Which is very nice. And in general, like, this is a big change. Like, the wild area is genuinely seeming to be, like, a big change for the franchise.
One of the things I want to point out, I can't remember if we mentioned it. A lot of the previews I read, people were just saying, I ran into early on like the first route, Pokemon that I am not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because it's like, wow,
they're clearly,
they said, like, the walk to the professor's thing, just that one route, they found 7 new Pokemon. Which only one of them had been revealed, which is Yamper. So, like, maybe it's very front loaded with new Pokemon, who knows, but that is, I think, exciting because I think that there's been, a lot of weird sort of doubt and concern surrounding Sword and Shield. And so I think that it was nice to sort of have people play the game and be like, no, it's still good. Like, it's still, it's not like, I mean, there's parts of that are clearly still Pokemon, like the battle system's the battle system, right? But, like, people like that battle system. At least I do. But along the way,
I love the battle system.
Yeah, but, like, they're still clearly taking a new approach, trying new things. And that's the stuff that I think, and it seems to largely be working out. Obviously things can change in hour 40 versus hour 2, but for the previews that we have now, they were exciting.
Yeah.
Man,
so
I'm so fucking pumped, dude. 29 days, by the way, for as of this recording.
Yeah, we got less than a month to go, and Luigi in the middle of that. So fun stuff, and Ring Fit Adventure. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Game of the generation, right there, baby.
By the way, Ring Fit Adventure. I don't know who's taking part exactly, but I think everyone in here is getting it except for Brandon.
I'm poor, and I'm put my money on the table already right now with the Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon. So yeah,
fair. It is an $80 game, so
yeah.
But Ills, were we doing something with that? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think it's me and Noah, and are you gonna join us?
I might. We'll see.
So we're gonna try to do like a Ring Fit challenge. We're just gonna like play as much as we can, lose as much weight or gain. I don't know what the fuck. Just try to get as fit as possible from now until December, and we'll try to keep you updated with our progress and our impressions of the game and stuff like that.
Yeah. So fun stuff. The biggest game of the year, Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah. Game of the year.
So that is our podcast for the week. But we have one more thing to do that we must do. The list.
The list.
So last week.
Follow along in the paste bin below.
so you can see what we're ranking. Because yeah. So last week we had who? Someone.
You are so fucking ill prepared.
I had it and then I completely forgot. It was
Saf.
It was Saf who added yes. Yeah. He had a Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers USA.
Yeah.
So it got
what a conversation.
We had quite the conversation about it. So if you didn't listen to last week's episode,
No, it's not your fault because it was uploaded super late.
Yeah, that too. It was just, last week was just it was an interesting episode. Let's just say that much. So Super Mario Bros. 2 is at number 80. So this week I believe it is my turn.
Correct.
Yes, and I would like to add Fire Emblem Fates.
Okay.
Wait. How are we doing this?
Fire Emblem Fates. Let's just count it as a one whole package.
One package.
Okay. Oh God.
That's really hard to do.
Which, honestly, I'm gonna straight up tell you right now, lowers the estimation of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, Fire Emblem Fates was a game that was split into 3, essentially, right? They were 3 fleshed out games, right? They all used the same group of characters, and basically the story was, hey, there's 2 warring factions, you pick a side, Nor or Hoshido, right? The third route is kind of the true route, and mixes them together. And gameplay-wise, they were also very different. So Birthright, which is Hoshido, more Japanese style, right? Characters. Yes. These guys, this game was played a lot like Fire Emblem Awakening, right? You could grind.
Generally easier.
Generally easier. All the map objectives tended to be rout the enemy or defeat the enemy commander, right? A more casual experience overall, right? Which is, especially if you came in from Awakening, this was a good follow up to that, right?
Yeah.
Then we had Fire
Emblem and had the better design for everything.
Sure. Yeah. And then we had Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, right? Which was more European style character designs, I guess.
More
also,
in line with the usual Fire Emblem fare.
Yeah. And this game was played a lot more like older Fire Emblem games, right? You just went straight from chapter to chapter to chapter. There was no in between. You could not grind or anything like that, right? The map objectives tended to be a little bit more varied, right? So there would pretty much every map you did something different. You were not the map objective wasn't really like just hey defeat all the enemies on the map, right? They tended to be and the maps themselves tended to have a lot more. I say this, I don't mean this in a bad way, but gimmicks, right? Like there was the maps had a lot more going on in general.
A lot more variation.
Yeah. And then Revelation kind of had a little bit of column A, column B, right? And was in the middle of the difficulty, I guess, between the two. This game's hard to talk about because, first of all, I want to say the story, just as a whole, is a mess. It sucks. Like, I don't like any of it. I don't like...
Well, especially Nor's.
Sure, yes. Like, the Conquest story is especially garbage, right? But I think the other two aren't really, like, that much of like, they're still garbage, Like,
I'd say Birthright is the best, but it's, like, pretty basic.
It's a very basic story, right? And then Revelation is just very confusing, a lot of stuff going on. But, like...
It is very confusing.
They didn't really pull off this idea of, hey, there's 2 sides to every coin. They didn't really pull that off because, no, there's only one good guy here. Like, and it just, the character interactions, I think, are very vapid, which compared to Fire Emblem Awakening, which was very well received for how the support conversations, right? People love those support conversations. People love those characters. And then you have Fates, where it's just like a downgrade across the board on that front. Right? Well,
I'd say, like, the 2 sides to every coin thing, that's just more like you having to, like, fight the characters that you know very well.
That plays into it a bit, And then, like, there's the element of, oh, hey, like, you see characters that you like from your previous playthrough, they're now, you have to kill them, right?
Yeah.
I didn't feel as strongly about the characters enough to really be hit that much, you know? Like,
yeah.
because I think the thing that permeates a lot of this game is like the base elements are still there, right?
Mhm.
The map design in Conquest is good. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But is stretched so thin, right? You can tell that they had to write, you know, basically double the characters that they had to in previous games.
Yes.
And it was a thing where, you know, they sort of said, okay, well, we have to sort of get these guys down to their basal elements, right? We can't, like, have every character have a relationship with every other character because it gets out of control really quickly, right? But what that means is that then sometimes you'll sort of finish a whole set of support conversations and you're like, it didn't progress anything, right? Like, I never felt like there was, like, a larger thing that it built towards. But, like, on the story scale side of things, like, because, especially on the North side, like we said, but even on Hoshido's side, like, for some of the story to happen, Korin has to be very dumb as a protagonist, right? Like, just has to not connect a lot of dots. A lot of people have to do things that are completely silly if you had to look at them as, like, actual logical decisions, right?
Oh, yeah. Especially on the North side. Oh, my God. Like, how do they keep trusting that fucking king?
I mean, and it really, like, and I really liked Conquest, I will say, right? Just, even though it had a shitty story, I liked, the gameplay, in my opinion, is, like, the best in the series, but it doesn't matter, because the rest of it really brought down my experience. I really, like, I came away with this game annoyed, you know, by the end of it. And it, cause, yeah, sorry. Okay. It's just, like, it's hard for me, because, like I said, gameplay-wise, I think this was masterful. Conquest, at least, I should say. I did think Birthright was a little bit too easy, right? And Revelation, I thought, was just stupid. I really did not like the gameplay of Revelation, and that really soured me as a whole, also. But in Conquest, it's like, sure, I'm playing this such an amazing strategy game, but, like, I don't care about these characters, I don't care about this story, and that's such a big part of why I like Fire Emblem, you know? And it really drags, it's like, it's not even like it's just, like, uneventful, it drags the experience down because it is that bad, you know? And, like, the writing is bad.
And that's not even to mention the fact that they brought back the fucking child thing for no reason.
Yes.
Oh, dear God, it's so dumb. Like, why?
It's a gameplay mechanic that I really loved in Awakening, but because it is implemented so weirdly, just every part of it's so weird.
I
the
forgot
part where they bring back the
aspect,
Awakening characters, so weird.
Yeah, I forgot that aspect even existed, and that also legitimately brought down my experience because it's like they explained it in the most stupid way. You could tell this was just shoehorned because it was a fan favorite feature, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't even interact with it because I was just like, no, I don't want to do this. I just don't want to do this because this is fucking dumb. And
they were generally, like, less interesting. Like,
yeah,
almost every character was less interesting. I would say I would give a caveat that all the siblings were kind of interesting, but other than that,
sure, like the main character, yeah, but like everyone else was just kind of blah. And like
because on each side you have, what is it, four siblings?
Yeah,
each, right?
4 siblings. Yeah,
and they all have 2 retainers, and then a whole bunch of other characters. Like
There's just,
so the siblings and some of the retainers were pretty interesting. But, you know, other than that,
I think my biggest thing, this game is defined by bloat. You know, because by the time I got End with Revelations, I was just so sick of this game. I really was. I was just tired of it. And like it started out, like I said, I really like Conquest gameplay, right? But like it just like it was that having a bad story, and then Birthright just kind of being like meh, and then just Revelations just being fucking awful, right? Like by the end of this, I really was just sick of this game, and honestly is one of my least favorite Fire Emblem games, you know? And at this point, I've played pretty much them all. But
I haven't said a lot, but I'll tell you, I got sick of this game before you did, because I didn't even bother finishing it. That's how sick of it I got.
damn.
And I know you got, don't pull the fucking shit you pulled.
No, I'm not. But, yeah. No, I mean, but like...
Well, that's what you say all the time, Brandon. What are you talking
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I just had no motivation to even want to finish it. Like, I got both games, and I was just like, I finished fucking the first one, Birthright, and I just didn't want to finish the other one. I started it, and I was like, yeah, I don't care anymore. I don't want to play this. I don't know.
So can I rank
I mean,
it now?
I like
Or-
this game generally. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. Like, there were some stupid story stuff. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. You guys tell me where you want it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I just wasn't interested in continuing it. You know.
Okay, so I want to make a direct comparison. Because let me tell you where I want to rank it. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not. I want to stress. I'm not really sure yet. But Binding Blade. Do you guys think it is worse or better than Binding Blade?
It's better than Binding Blade.
Okay.
Yeah, better. Binding Blade really pisses me off.
Okay.
Like, Roy had no personality.
I will say it belongs below 3D Land at least. Like 3D Land is a better 3DS game than
Binding Blade was like stupidly fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it somewhere between 3D Land and Binding Blade then.
I don't think that's fair.
Where
I think
the fuck is
3D
Binding
Land's a
Blade?
better game.
So we're like between 82 and
Okay,
90.
Yeah, I see. 82 and 90. I'd be
I don't
okay
know
with
about
putting
that.
it just below Super Mario 3D Land, but
Well, I think 3D Land should move up, so I don't want to make that mistake.
That's true, I guess.
But I also like Luigi's Mansion.
But like I don't think it's better than
Well, we
Mario
can put it
2
below
or
Luigi's
Luigi's Mansion
Mansion,
or
is what I was
Elite
gonna say.
Agents.
What I was going to say was put it below Luigi's Mansion.
You know what's too low? Zach and Wiki. Looking at you, Zach.
yeah, I agree with that.
Because everything else I'm cool with putting it above. But you know, so there's 7 games that I'm cool with putting it above, so I won't let that one outweigh it. Yeah, I'd be cool with below Luigi.
Okay, yeah, I can deal with that.
For the second fucking week in a row. I mean, I'm fine with that too.
Living in that
Luigi's Mansion is
space.
becoming the new wall.
So, Fire Emblem Fates is now
It's
at number
October.
80. Surrounding it, we have 78 Elite Beat Agents, 79 Luigi's Mansion, 80 Fire Emblem Fates, 81 Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, 82 Star Wars Republic Commando. That's the list. If you like this podcast, please check us out on iTunes, wherever you can catch a podcast. Tell your friends. Just tell a friend. Tell one friend about this podcast.
And they'll
if
tell
you like
one
it.
friend, and within
You
a
know?
month, we'll have everyone in the world listening.
And then, exactly. Yeah, so, because we would
Affections,
appreciate more listeners. Also, we do the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. I should say, this podcast comes out every Monday. Then the Jump Up Supercast Game Club comes out every other Thursday. The next game on the Game Club is...
Apotheon. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Apotheon? I think it's pronounced Apotheon.
yeah. So look
That
forward to
one's
that
gonna be
Game
late,
Club
too.
episode this Thursday.
It's getting delayed 1 week
Oh,
because
okay.
Noah and I just moved into a new place, and it was it's a week-long process moving.
Yeah. Okay, so it's coming next Thursday then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No problem. Okay, so look forward to that, hosted by our very own Brandon.
Hello,
Yeah, and also we rank games on the list on the club, believe it or not. So
we do.
gotta listen to the lists, and gotta listen to the club
Drop
to
the
know
fucking hammer.
what's going on with the list. So, we're also on social media. Twitter's the best place to follow us because you can find out when everything goes up. Our podcasts, our streams on twitch.tv/jumpupsupercast. Maybe mixer.com one day.
Maybe we coming for you, Ninja.
We're coming for you, Ninja. Also,
Fortnite?
we're on Instagram and Facebook /JumpUpSupercast. On Instagram, you can get a sneak peek of what's coming on the Game Club. And Brandon, please take us
Yo.
out.
the fuck?
Okay. Okay. All right. It would be really cool if the GameCube actually used online the fucking LAN adapter, because you could never find one, and only like 2 games used it. So now it's just a spot to maybe hide some money or some change in. And yeah, I wish they could have used that more. Speaking of that, Nintendo has a lot of weird things on some of their consoles. Like, what the fuck is up with the what's the deal with the Wii U Pro Controller or the Wii Pro Controller? What's the click things on the back? What's the deal with that? You don't even get to use them. I don't know, but it's interesting. Video games, man, wild. Have a great day. Be nice. Be rooting, be tooting, be shooting. Most importantly, be kind.